right, everybody, welcome to BO Boys for Wednesday. What month is it?
September 18th.
September
Never,
18th.
never forget 9/18/2024. So,
Fuck it, it's a raw feed. We're doing it live in studio. I'm Clayton.
yeah, I'm Pat Clayton. Huge weekend preview episode going on here. We got a big animated movie. We got another gigantic Lionsgate movie coming out. Some indie movies. And a surprise that you've forgotten about that I am going to spring on you.
Oh, thank you.
The audience and, hey guys,
Hey, guys.
for all you YouTube viewers, you love it when I just spring something on Clayton, and I'm going to do that later. So stick around. There's a big springing upon to come. Clayton, you are not ready for what I'm going to spring on you.
Clayton Reacts. These are big videos online.
Yes.
Clayton Reacts.
Yes, with the X. You
Yeah.
got to have it. It's Clayton Reacts with an X. And that's going to be huge.
Also, Clayton Wears Axe. I
Yes.
have my Axe body spray review series. If you haven't seen it, it's out there.
Yeah, you are now 40% through reviewing every Axe product ever made.
Yeah, and I'm drinking them.
Yes.
That's the wrinkle. Anybody can spray it on their skin.
Right.
It takes a real man to drink it down.
Yes, to pour it in your nightly peptides.
Mm-hmm.
And you have your peptides, you've got your liquid Axe body spray.
Yeah.
And it shows. You're glowing. You're glowing, in a way humans are not meant to glow, but it's great and we love it and the audience loves seeing you.
I'm
transform.
oozing.
Well, you're transforming, Clayton.
Yes.
You're transforming before our eyes, much like Optimus Prime and Megatron in the new animated Transformers 1. It's a prequel.
Yep.
It's not a requel. I mean, they're trying. Paramount they're trying to squeeze every last bit of juice they can out of these Transformers, and this is the new attempt.
They won't give up. They won't give up.
Well, I mean, can they give up, Clayton? If you're Paramount and you are just clinging to what, you lost Marvel 10 years ago. They should have obviously bought Marvel. Everyone for Paramount released the first, 3 years worth of Marvel movies.
Yep.
They're the studio that distributed Iron Man.
I know.
Right now, and obviously superheroes are on the wane. It's never going to be what it was. But if Paramount had bought Marvel Studios and kept being the studio that makes and releases Marvel movies, they would not be the ones being sold for parts right now. They would be a dominant movie studio. And that didn't happen. So Transformers.
Can I tell you something though?
Of course.
If that would have been the case,
yeah,
I think Transformers would have been in the MCU.
Wow.
Because Transformers this is some Bazinga Bros stuff right here. Back in the 80s and early 90s and probably into the late 90s, I'm sure, Marvel published Transformers comic books and G.I. Joe comic books.
Wow.
And there were times, whether briefly or not, Spider-Man met a Transformer.
Really?
And I think that would have happened. I think that would have happened if that scenario would have come to pass, where you would have had a Decepticon fighting alongside Thanos.
Wow. They would have teamed up.
I mean, who knows? I'm not a screenwriter, but I think that would have happened if the Paramount scenario would have come to fruition.
So if Paramount had held on to and bought Marvel, the end of Infinity War would have seen Megatron and Thanos snap, and we're watching Optimus Prime disappear. Spider-Man is crying because Optimus Prime has disappeared, not because of Iron Man.
And, I mean, if we're going down this slippery slope...
We have to. We have to slide.
Beavis and Butthead are watching this and laughing on the couch, but then Beavis disappears.
Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, my God.
And then you have Butthead shed a single tear.
Right.
Showing emotion that normally he wouldn't show.
Wow.
He would probably be like, that sucks.
Yeah. So Cornholio, he's disappearing.
Yeah, he's a victim of the snap.
could you imagine that year? I mean, as big as Infinity War and as big as Endgame were, if Paramount had held on to that property, and for a year, all the world was trying to figure out how does Cornholio return in Endgame, or is Cornholio gone?
I mean, at the end of they it would not say, because it'd be a spoiler, that Cornholio will return in Endgame.
Right.
That wouldn't be on the screen.
Wow. I mean, that is what we lost when Disney bought the MCU instead of Paramount. And we would have had SpongeBob would have been in the MCU.
Yeah. But Jeff Probst also would have been in the MCU. So I guess it's not all of the decisions would have been good.
Magnum P.I., I think, would have probably made an appearance in the MCU, at least in a Guardians movie. I think, okay, remember in the first Guardians when they go to the Collector and he's got all the... I think Magnum P.I. would have been in one of those cages that in the background, you know, with Howard the Duck.
Yep.
And the Collector would have passed by a cage that had Magnum P.I.
Yeah.
And had Cornholio maybe would have been in there. Or Daria.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God. Paramount. That is such a great alternate universe where Paramount keeps the MCU and we're folding in Beavis, Butthead, Cornholio, Magnum P.I. into that world.
But we don't live in that universe. We live in the universe where Paramount's hanging their hopes
on Hasbro still.
On the Hasbros. And so...
Are the Hasbros the has-beens? I mean, that last G.I. Joe movie that came out...
Joe is dead.
Okay, Joe is dead. There's no Joe 1 coming up, you don't think?
No.
Well,
because I don't think you can do the animated version of G.I. Joe, even though that's how it sort of originated as an animated series that was trying to sell you toys. The way that they're doing this Transformers movie, a la Lego movie, sort of with humor, but I also have heard it's very there is poignant moments to it.
Okay, there's pathos. Yeah.
But I don't think you can do that with something like G.I. Joe. And this has been looked at sort of akin to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated movie too.
Okay.
In that it's going to have humor, but it's also going to have action, and that's a movie that did pretty well.
Yeah.
It did well enough that it's going to get a sequel.
Yeah, I mean, the Mutant Mayhem, that came out, August 2023. Was a success, did over its $100 million domestic. It did suffer from coming out during the strikes, during the work stoppages, so they had a star-studded voice cast.
Yes.
You know, you had Seth Rogen, you had Io Adebri, you had...
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. Was Paul Rudd in
Paul
it?
Rudd was the lizard or the salamander or whatever?
Yes, they had
the gecko.
They had a lot of cast members who could have gone out on the chat show circuit, you know, sat on the couch next to Johnny, promoted that movie, but they couldn't. So I do think that movie would have done even bigger business, at least with adults, if that cast would have been able to promote it. So it makes sense that they're going in the Mutant Mayhem direction, having the Transformers be a little snarky, have a little bit of a rude dude attitude. And I get it, because the Transformers have never been rude dudes in any incarnation.
No, they've been friendly to humans as more of... they're aliens.
Yeah.
So the humans are being protected by them. They're more protectors than anything.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna throw something out here.
Okay.
Because you did mention the strike.
Yeah.
And you did mention how that was a detriment to the stars publicizing this film.
Yes.
Do you know where I'm going?
I feel like I know where you're going, yeah.
I think this movie would have done better during the strike.
Well, because go with it.
Chris Hemsworth would not be able to promote this movie.
Wow.
And you could put his name on the poster, and we've said this. They should have in contracts where you don't specify the font that you put the actor's name in, right? So
like the size of the font. Yeah.
The size of the font or the actual font.
Oh, wow.
Because we mentioned this, and this is something that we talked about when the great Jeff Bock was on the show. You got to put Chris Hemsworth's name in Dingbat.
Yes.
So it's just symbols.
Yep.
and that would still it would spell Chris Hemsworth if you highlighted it and changed it to Times New Roman.
Yeah, or if you read Dingbat.
Or if you read Dingbat.
Or is Dingbat
Wingdings.
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 Dingbat is like an aunt or an uncle. Could be a dingbat.
So Wingdings.
Yeah.
So that I think would have been a way you could go.
Mm-hmm.
But also I think if you could not see Chris Hemsworth, if he was not able to do any promotion,
right.
I think this movie, I think we're seeing $15 million more.
Wow.
Of an opening. If this opens in the high 20s or low 30s, it's because of Chris Hemsworth.
Where it should have then, you would say
40s
if he was not in it, or if his name on the poster was spelled in
Wingdings.
Yeah, I mean, we got it. We got an email from the great Danny Escamilaggi of I Screen, You Scream 4, number 4 movies. And he's, hey, throwing out there a few things I hope you guys talk about, or general movie going on. He says, done with Transformers. We'll talk about that. Do early screenings, early buzz slow from us from months ago, slow down projections. We'll talk about that. But he says, I saw a billboard Jumbotron in my local city of Transformers 1, and I know you guys don't want to hear what they put on the banner, but they put Chris Hemsworth's name, and I was thinking, not even a good idea to do so, as we all know history behind his star power. So that is from Danny. He saw the giant billboard in his city of Transformers, and there is Chris Hemsworth's name up there. What do you think that means to families when they see his name? Are they right away taken back to Answer the Call, Men in Black International? They're taken back to Furiosa.
Here's the guy who killed Mad Max.
He killed Mad Max. So is that a case, though, for a movie like this where the adults are going to keep their kids from a movie they would otherwise want to see because they don't want to hear Chris Hemsworth butcher another IP? Or is this because it's a cartoon, the kids are going to override the negative that is Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah, I mean, the reviews on this are really good.
Yes.
And from people that we've gotten emails from who saw previews of this, they've also said that it is one of the best Transformers movies, maybe the best.
Yes, we read on our last episode, we got an email from, I think that might have been wannabe oh boy Jason, I'll double check, but did get a very positive boots on the ground preview screening email. Crowds were clapping, it was packed, everyone seemed to really enjoy it at that boots on the ground screening.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing though. Has there ever actually been a good Transformers movie is the question, right? So to say this is the best ever Transformers movie is different than saying it'll be the most successful, which obviously it won't be because those Michael Bay ones were so huge.
Yes, this will not be a $1 billion baby the way I think maybe the first 3 Michael Bay movies were.
And those were cultural moments. Like the moment of the Transformers dominating the culture movie-wise was, at sort of before superheroes took over, but those were marquee popcorn movies in the early 2000s to the mid 2000s.
I mean, there was that overlap.
And early 2010s.
Oh yeah, there was that overlap where both through Paramount, the MCU had started, the Transformers franchise, the Michael Bay franchise was happening. The Michael Bay Transformers movies were bigger than the Marvel movies that were opening at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Like your Captain America's first...
even Iron Man.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure those Michael Bay Transformers were still bigger movies than the MCU movies that were opening the same years until you get to Avengers, and then that flips it where those are the number one properties. Mm-hmm. But Transformers during that run, those first 3, maybe 4 Transformers movies, those were the biggest movies of those years.
And so, I mean, and they have their charms, obviously. Yep. People do like them. The box office speaks for people. And so they were liked.
Yes.
And this one, you're coming from Rise of the Beast.
Didn't work.
Losing money.
Yeah.
the one before that, Bumblebee, which I think previous to this one, I haven't seen, is probably the best Transformers movie, just because it is a smaller film that is a little bit more intimate. It has like a more fun to it than just insane eye bleeding special effects.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think this is going to be one of those that if it opens, good.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking 35 and up,
mm-hmm.
and the buzz is good. We're going to see people going to this.
Yeah.
Because we've seen this even with something like Fall Guy, which, listen, Fall Guy was not a slam dunk and it wasn't a home run, but it's a movie that kept getting people to go see it. And this is a movie that could have that happen too. The word of mouth, it's not going to do gangbusters out the gate, but this is, people are going to the movies again. So they're going to want to see stuff that isn't just the newest thing. They're going to want to see stuff that they maybe missed or slept on.
Yeah. And especially kids movies, if they're good, could be, and even sometimes if they're not, could be especially leggy. Of course, Puss in Boots, Last Witch had a Greatest Showman-esque run. Movies like Sing, we've seen these kids movies have really leggy runs. So absolutely, Transformers 1 is not going to be, the story's not going to be told just by this weekend, but obviously it doesn't want to open at 24 million.
No.
That would be a problem, because then it really has to leg out to, in the end, get to where it wants, which is probably 150 domestic is where they're hoping this gets to, if not bigger than that. So, Danny brought up, do the kids care about this property? This is we're Gen X, both of us. Everyone knows that, well-documented. 2 Gen Xers sitting here hosting the show.
I'm too tired to fight right now.
So Transformers is when we were kids property. That is when the toy was big. That is when the cartoon was big. That is when the Orson Welles voiced Transformers the movie came out in theaters. The Michael Bay movies obviously brought it to a new generation. But if you are
your generation,
several below me, because I am Gen X, so younger, Gen Z, whatever this is, whatever kids are now, that's sort of like...
They are Gen Z or Gen Alpha.
Wow. So 6 years old to, say, 14.
Alpha.
That is the group that, do they care about these robots that transform into cars? I did get a boots on the ground tip from a wannabe mama, and she did tell me that she's got 2 sons, and she said she's got 2 rats, and they are very excited for this movie. In fact, the quote is that they are losing their shit for this Transformers movie, and that they know Transformers through the song. That is, they know the music, and they are losing their shit for...
Wait, they know The Touch, the song that was in Boogie Nights, that was from the first animated Transformers movie? You've got The Touch, that's the one they... Did they watch the YouTube video of Dirk Diggler singing that in the studio from Boogie Nights?
I think they know that they may own the studio may own the records, but the magic that's on that record, they own that. That's theirs. So I think these young rats know that scene. They've memorized that scene.
Okay.
They all watch it together every day in kindergarten and first grade. So yeah.
These rats are cinephiles.
These rats are cinephiles. They love the Transformers song, which is, of course, You've Got the Touch from Boogie Nights. That has to be what she means by that they know the Transformers song. But they're excited. They're losing their shit in anticipation of this Transformers movie. And in fact, she told me that her and her rats, they rewatched Bumblebee recently to get ready for this Transformers movie coming out this weekend. So now that is, of course, one boots on the ground instance from a very trusted source. So I assume that there's a good chance that's happening in a lot of rat families right now.
Yeah.
That their kids are rewatching the Boogie Nights clip, rewatching the You've Got the Touch song over and over, and that's getting them excited for this Transformers cartoon.
Yeah, how many dollars Dirk dollars, we'll call them,
Mm-hmm.
do you think this movie is going to bring in, people getting introduced to the Transformers through Dirk Diggler singing the song in Boogie Nights?
I think every dollar above, say, 34 million is possibly a Dirk dollar.
Okay.
That's the ubiquity of that Boogie Night scene and that song bringing more rats to the yard for Transformers 1.
Man, I got to factor that in.
Yeah. So that's out there. I mean, this was a property that was big in the 80s, but it's cars that turn into robots. That's pretty evergreen. I think more than G.I. Joe is.
Well,
cars, I think, could stick around. Yeah.
It's a hard sell.
It's a hard sell.
As much as okay, so let's talk G.I. Joe first, and then we'll talk about the car situation.
Yeah.
Because G.I. Joe's dead, and I've said this, right? Joe is dead.
Joe is dead.
People say yo Joe, we say no Joe.
Yeah.
Because the military
play taps.
Yes, play taps for Joe. The military is not popular right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably at the all-time low for people being pro-military, and I'm not making any. Listen, I'm not making any sort of political statement by saying this.
Right.
Just saying culturally.
You're not Taylor Swift here.
No.
But you're also not Taylor Swift.
I'm not Taylor Swift.
Exactly.
Thank you. So I think that at the box office, you're not seeing those sort of movies in the mainstream do Baffa-Bobo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, a World War II movie's always going to do well.
Right.
Always. But that's a strong
maybe
IP.
not always. They're still they're alive enough to
Yeah. That's a strong IP, but otherwise, just in general, if you're trying to do a war movie of people right now in the military, it probably would not do well at the box office.
Right.
It's just a fact.
Right.
So Joe is dead.
Yeah. Jarhead is a straight to DVD franchise for a reason.
Exactly. The only thing that makes me question Transformers is that the young people, the Gen Zs, and the Alphas who can't drive yet,
right,
but are maybe the oldest are like 2 or 3 years away from maybe getting their driver's license. Cars are not like a huge part of their culture anymore. Turning into a car is they don't want to own cars. They want ride shares. They want monorails. They want city bikes. That's what younger people want. You're pushing back on this. I can tell by your face, but believe me, a car is not an important accoutrement for a younger generation.
But
maybe for millennials.
No, but I think for
like yourself,
you're not going young enough. I think yes, maybe people in their 20s are more car averse, and they're just waiting for the self-driving cars to come, and they rely on Uber, which are still cars, but they're not as into driving maybe as previous
generation. They're not into driving.
But
are you talking Power Wheels?
Well, I'm talking Power Wheels.
Okay.
I still think that mindset has yet to come for a 6 to 12-year-old. They still want to drive. They're in their Power Wheels. They're in their little tykes. They are, sitting on mommy or daddy's lap with the steering wheel of the car, thinking they're driving, and of course they're not actually driving.
Okay.
That would be insane.
Yeah.
But I think little kids do still want to drive, and maybe a couple of years from now they're gonna be like, we need fast, high-speed rail and all that.
Yeah.
But if you are the age that's gonna want to go see a Transformers movie, you want to drive.
Okay, I actually sort of agree with you here because
little kids still fetishize cars.
It's like when you're a little kid and you have that lawnmower, the fake lawnmower that blows the bubbles.
Yes.
And you're pushing that around behind your dad, your mom, your guardian, the person who has raised you, and can't wait in your little mind to be actually mowing a lawn.
Yes.
And then fast forward to 14, 15, guardian, person, dad, mom, grandparent, uncle, whoever is the guardian, comes, tries to wake you up at noon or 1 o'clock to mow the lawn.
Right.
And you say, F off.
Right.
You're not my dad, or you are my dad, or you're not my mom, or you are my mom, whatever.
You're whoever.
You're whoever. But you're not the boss of me.
Yeah. and I'm not mowing a goddamn lawn,
Yeah.
even though 10 years earlier, that little same guy, that same kid, and if you're on
just
YouTube,
so happy, biggest smile on their face.
Yep. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing Clayton perfectly pantomime the motion of a little kid happily moving along a bubble spewing toy lawnmower.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the thing. I think, you know, people in their 20s want high-speed rail, but if you're a 6-year-old, you want to be driving a car. You want to be driving a truck.
Yeah, the biggest, or a fire
a fire engine. Yes, a fire engine, 100%. So the trucks are still heavily fetishized by little kids. They want to see these trucks, and they want to see these trucks have bodies. They want to see these trucks have heads.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see trucks spout arms and, have butts, because they would find that hilarious. If a truck had a butt.
A truck with a butt.
And that's the thing. This Transformers 1 movie, I think we're going to get a truck with a butt joke. I think that's going to happen.
It's going to be like, look at my butt.
Look at my butt. Smell my truck butt.
Uh-huh.
I think this is the Transformers movie.
And it's going to be, there's going to be a backfire. And they're going to be like, someone's going to pull a Transformers finger and it backfires.
Yes, 100%. That is where that's the exhaust.
The exhaust.
There's the exhaust. And we've never had that. This is new, because Transformers, whether it's the original cartoon, whether it's the Michael Bay, they have always been very stately. They've been very dignified. They've been high status, even though they are, in the end, robot trucks. They've been Shakespearean.
Mm-hmm.
We're finally going to get to see Transformers be rude dudes with attitudes, cut loose, have the exhaust joke, a truck with a butt.
Mm-hmm.
I think kids are going to be into that.
Yeah.
And like you said, in a way that G.I. Joe's dead because kids are not going to be as into the military as we were when we were 80s kids.
Yeah.
And we were all raring to sign up. If you would have had a military sign-up station at a kindergarten in 1986, we're all signing up.
I mean, we had
send
Rambo.
Us to NAM. We all would have said send us to NAM.
Let's win it.
Yeah.
Let's win it.
Let's go back.
We'd all be mini Rambos. Let's go back and win it.
Yeah.
Or Missing in Action. Let's find our boys.
Yes.
We were all mini Chuck Norrises back then.
Yes. And whereas now kids would, they would say, I'm not signing up for your war.
Mm-mm.
If you went to a kindergarten now, tried to sign kids up for the army, I'm not fighting your war.
Mm-hmm.
But 1986, we're fighting everyone's war.
Mm-hmm.
Cold War, World Wars, Vietnam War. Get us a musket, we'll fight the Revolutionary War.
Did we win Korea?
We would have went in there. MASH.
Win it again.
We would have been having to sit through MASH while our parents had it on, and we would have said, sure, send us to Korea.
Yeah.
If we don't have to watch this, and the movie's great, but the TV show, my God, terrible. We had to sit through that. So it's a sad sitcom. What kid wants that? So yeah, G.I. Joe's dead, but the trucks, especially trucks with the butts, I think this is going to be big. And we've got wannabe mamas out there telling us that their kids are losing their shit with this.
So could this surprise? Because I know they're being low on this, Paramount, because they have to be.
Yeah,
they always
Mayhem
go
opened
low.
to 28 million, so that makes sense as the comp. Yeah. I think possibly we'll get to that on our number prediction.
Okay.
So let's move on, I think, to another movie opening this weekend. So, I mean, the name of it is escaping me because it is a very forgettable title, but of course there is Never Let Go. So another Lionsgate movie.
Oh my goodness.
It's Halle Berry in basically a family haunted house movie. That seems to be the case. And it's from the director of Crawl. So it's from a real director, I mean,
Crawl was a nice, sneaky little double.
Yeah.
I would say, right?
No, this is a movie that I think if it were not a Lionsgate release right in this period of Lionsgate, could have been something. Because Halle Berry is a forever star, a forever, super famous person who I do think, is always going to have an audience, and especially in this kind of genre could elevate the prospects of a movie like this, like she has in the past. There was the one where she's had these sort of low budget movies that have overperformed. I think there was the one where she was like a 911 caller.
Yes.
So this, I feel like in a different time, in a different studio, I would have been optimistic about this. But I mean, what do you think? Do you think that there's any chance this is the Lionsgate movie that breaks?
No. I mean, it's just so hard with this glut of Lionsgate. And okay, let's be fair though.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the general public is thinking what we're thinking.
Exactly.
Another Lionsgate movie. They are thinking, do I want to see this movie or not see this movie? The problem with it being Lionsgate is that Lionsgate does not have the money to promote all of the movies they're releasing.
Right.
So this is coming off the heels of a Batista movie
Killer's Game.
Just bombed last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have another star who would get people interested in the movie if they had any clue it was coming out.
Right.
And I think that is the problem, is that people don't know this is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got such an innocuous title. I mean, isn't it also Never Let... It's the name of a book,
mm-hmm.
a famous book,
mm-hmm.
written by the guy who did Remains of the Day.
Yeah.
And so I don't think people are going to get confused that it's
mm-hmm.
an adaptation, because
mm-hmm.
most people go to movies, don't read books, because most people don't read books.
Yep.
But
remember the Costner movie that came out during COVID, Let Him Go? The one where Kevin Costner and Diane Lane were trying to get their grandkid out of a like hillbilly cult.
Was that Let Her Go?
Let Her Go or Let Him Go? It was one of those, or it was Let People Go, possibly. But it was a Let Blank Go.
Yes. Let Him Go.
Let Him Go.
Let
so
him
it
go.
was a him person. So
yeah.
Let Him Go. This is Never Let Go. You know, it's not giving me Ghost.
Mm-mm.
It's not right off the bat saying this is spooky, this is Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a jumbly, any three words.
And this is, again, let the ghost go. What's wrong with that?
Let the ghost go.
Why are we being artful about this sort of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Or try, I mean...
Or never let Ghost.
Never let Ghost.
Never let Ghost.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's great, too.
Yeah, never let G, parentheses H, O, parentheses ST.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Because then you see that somewhere, you're interested.
Yeah.
You're confused.
But
confusion and interest, it's such a thin line.
Yes.
Why
that was
not...
the Martin Lawrence movie, right? There's a thin line between confusion and interest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So why not tease that? Why not tease that line? Why not try and blur those lines?
Yes.
Right? Those are lines that are okay to blur.
Yes.
Not the ones that they were singing about. Those are not good lines to blur. No, that is not aged well.
No.
But you can blur the lines between confusion and interest.
Yeah.
So I think that this thing's probably just gonna do I mean, will it do better than the Killer's Game? Maybe, because she's
a
bigger star and has a demo that will see her at the theater. That I don't think Batista has a specific demo that's like, Batista's our guy.
Yeah,
I mean, Batista is our guy, but we didn't see Killer's Game.
Right. I think Halle Berry probably has a bigger base and a more devoted following.
Mm-hmm. But that's only going to get you so far.
It's only going to get you so far. And I think something to see here is the public doesn't know that Lionsgate is putting out a bunch of stinkers, but the exhibitors do.
Mm-hmm.
And there is the chance that they punish Lionsgate by, this is in our basement screening room. This is in our screening room where a third of the seats are broken. This is in the screening room where we don't allow soda in, or we've allowed so much soda in that we can't get the stickiness out of it.
Yeah, this is the sticky theater.
Yeah. So I do think there's a chance that this movie will suffer from Lionsgate's bad streak because the theatrical exhibitors are starting to get fed up.
Yeah, this is 2,600 locations, but they didn't say what locations.
Right.
Like, they didn't say how many of those are broom closets with a projector.
Right.
or a laptop with the drive, the USB
dangling,
right?
The movie keeps stopping because they have to keep shoving the thumb drive back in.
Yeah, because it's got the
dongle.
wobbly USB, or and so that's I think that's a possibility too. That this
definitely.
just gets buried at the theater. There's people who might buy a ticket to this movie and never even get around to seeing it because they can't find it. Yeah. Now that money would still count towards that movie, but then they would tell their friends, "Hey, don't waste your time because it might not even be there."
Yeah. So we'll get to our predictions, but not feeling super confident that this is the one that's going to break the streak for Lionsgate.
But what about, the director is a director who has done stuff that people know.
Yeah, Hills Have Eyes. He did Piranha 3D, not 3 Double D.
No.
But, so he's got hits. Crawl is a hit. He's got hits this is Alexandre Aja.
Uh-huh.
So...
Did he also do Mirrors?
He did do Mirrors, yeah. So this is a definitely really solid horror movie director. This movie might end up being good, but it's hard to know that from the level of marketing it's got. So there is another horror movie coming out this week. Well, horror, indie, weird, possibly Oscar play, body horror swap movie.
I know what you're talking about.
The Substance, Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, and, man... maybe at one of his late career apex for Dennis Quaid, Reagan himself. So those are your 3 stars for The Substance. Is this A24?
No, this is Mubi.
This is Mubi trying to get into the A24 space.
Good for Mubi.
Good for Mubi. So this is a movie that possibly right after we get off mic here, me and you might be reserving our tickets to see this movie this weekend. Are you excited for Demi Moore, some Oscar buzz, The Substance?
Yes. I'm excited it's Oscar season.
Oscar.
Who will win?
Who will win?
You always, you root for these stars to come back and get their nom-nom-noms. Someone like Demi Moore as a Gen Xer. Is there a more Gen X star than Demi Moore?
Well, someone who just had one of the biggest hits of her,
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder.
But in the sense of Demi Moore, when I was 4, I was watching her in the Brat Pack movies. And then when I came of age, I was watching her in Scarlet Letter. I was watching her in Striptease. I was watching her in The Juror.
Yeah.
Ghost.
And Ghost, of course.
Ghost. One of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
And so
Disclosure.
Disclosure.
We all watched Disclosure.
We all watched part of Disclosure.
Yeah.
And so I'm very excited for that as just a narrative.
Yep.
The other thing I'm excited about is that I think this movie sounds really interesting. It's body horror. We love the body horror.
It's body swap.
And we love a body swap.
We love a body swap.
Especially a horror body swap, because it's like, what a great idea. I'm so surprised people hadn't thought of this way earlier. Of course, Freaky was the one who got to it first, but I'm very surprised nobody thought of that before.
And then there was the Heather Graham body horror
that was on Shudder.
Movie. That was on Shudder. What was that? That was an H.P. Lovecraft. I forget the title of it, but I saw that on Shudder. It was fine. I won't say it was fine.
Yeah, but to me, okay, Heather Graham is Heather Graham. Of course, we mentioned Boogie Nights, all time in Boogie Nights.
All time.
But
forever an Austin Powers girl.
But Demi is a different level of star.
Yes.
Demi was a supernova at a time, was getting the big paychecks, was up there with all the male stars at a point in time in the 90s where that was rare.
Yeah.
And so to see her give what I'm hearing is a bold performance and a brave performance, very excited for
very
this.
Excited.
And listen, horror is prestige now.
Yeah.
I mean, the further we get into the younger generation who grew up on A24 movies and every September going to see the Warner Brothers prestige horror movie, in the first week of September.
Mm-hmm.
Those are going to become Oscar movies.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to. And so we're seeing this slow creep in of the gore hounds and, horror heads being able to get these movies into contention.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
I mean, look at who won Best Actress last year. Emma Stone for kind of a horror comedy in Poor Things.
She was a Frankenstein in a way.
Yeah, so obviously we're the BO boys, we're talking box office, but we love Oscars, we love award season, so that'll be a big part of the show the next few months. I hope the Substance and Demi Moore is part of those conversations.
Yes.
I would love to see, and yeah, I do think that the current Oscar voter class, they're more into this kind of thing than you would have been in the Merchant Ivory 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be into some level of body horror being prestige.
Yeah.
This is not going to be a huge release, not going to be a huge opening weekend, so this isn't probably going to factor into our top fives or anything, but it'll be interesting to see the per screen average on Monday.
Yes.
I think when we do our recap show, that's what we're going to hone in on for the Substance. How was the per screen average?
Yeah.
And how is the Oscar buzz getting louder or dimmer after the opening weekend for Demi Moore? So that'll be what we follow here. Clayton.
Well, Quaid, double nomination this year.
I mean, you figure the Substance is probably a supporting role, so he does have that shot at the Best Actor nom for Reagan, and then a supporting actor nom for the Substance. So that would be the first time an actor's done that since Jamie Foxx, the year that he had Ray and Collateral, right? I feel like there's been actresses. ScarJo did it a couple of years ago for Best Actress, Supporting Actress. But I can't think of an actor.
That was the Jojo Rabbit year?
Jojo Rabbit and Marriage Story. Should have won for Marriage Story. But
Jojo shouldn't have been nominated.
I like Jojo. But anyway, I can't think of a male actor who's done the double. So it could be Quaid is the first time since Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Be very interesting to see if that works out.
Illustrious company.
But the per screen average will be key.
Yeah.
The per screen average will be key. Shall I knock you sideways now, Clayton? Shall I spring something on you?
All right. Okay. I thought the Substance was what you were springing on me, but it's not. Oh my goodness.
This is a true springing upon.
Okay.
Coming out this weekend in what was supposed to be wide release. It was supposed to open wide, but it's now opening very limited. We've got Wolves from Apple. Was supposed to be a big Sony theatrical release and then go on Apple later, but instead they pulled the theatrical release after the disaster that was Argyle. And so Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Wolves is going.
No, it wasn't after the disaster of Argyle.
It was after which disaster?
Fly Me to the Moon.
Yes, that disaster.
Which has made less domestically in its run than Reagan.
Wow. So you've been talking a lot, because I think the Fly Me to the Moon was heavily covered on episodes where I was in Europe eating black pudding, having the time of my life. And you and our guest host, Aaron Rose Foley-Chan, you guys did talk a lot about Fly Me to the Moon, the TV director who made a movie that bombed so badly that it changed Apple's release strategy.
It impacted two A-listers.
Yeah.
And their ability to get a movie in wide release. We're talking Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Who still has box office clout.
Oh, Bullet Train is only a couple of years ago.
And George Clooney, who had Ticket to Paradise.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Julia Roberts. But if you had Julia Roberts and Chris Hemsworth, then that's not a movie. That's a movie that does jackass.
And the thing is, movie stars do movies together. I do get a little annoyed when there's these disclaimers about, well, that's not a hit for this person because they also co-starred with this person.
Yeah, no.
Movie stars are in movies together. Since the beginning of time, ideally you take one movie star, you put him with another movie star, and then you've got a big hit.
And you don't get you don't get this one without saying we're going to get this one. Like that's the other thing is like Ticket to Paradise doesn't happen unless it's agreed upon that you're going to have an equivalent star to a Clooney or a Julia Roberts.
Right.
That movie doesn't get made.
Like we love Richard Kind, but Julia Roberts doesn't do Ticket to Paradise if they're saying, okay, Julie, it's going to be you and Richard Kind. She needed another movie star for her to do that movie.
Now, Clooney and Kind are very close, so I could see Clooney doing it if it's Kind, just because they're besties.
Yeah, so there is a version of Ticket to Paradise where it's George Clooney and Richard Kind, but that is a hit for Clooney. Clooney has had a recent hit. Brad Pitt's had a recent hit,
and people know he directed Boys in the Boat.
Which was an overperformer.
Now that's a rare case of I think people knowing who directs a movie, unless you're talking Tarantino, you're talking Nolan, you're talking a few other big names. But I think knowing Clooney had a hit as a director, and had a hit as an actor, he's coming into Wolves in a really good position.
Yeah.
Of course, Brad is what he is, still a big star. So this was a movie that was poised to do some business for Crapple TV Plus. And they, of course, just fumbled all goodwill by just putting out bad movie after bad movie after bad movie.
So just wanted to hit on Fly Me to the Moon because you talked a lot about that TV director. Greg Berlanti is his name.
I guess, right?
Well, I bring it up because, I mean, did you watch the Emmys the other night? The Emmy Awards, 4 hours.
Did he win something for Arrow?
Oh, he didn't just win something. He was given a approximately 8 to 10 minute segment where he was given the Governor's Award, and it was a career retrospective. People gushing about his career. At one point, they said he had 32 shows on the air at the same time, some stat like that.
So this is Damage Control.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The TV industry, and you know what? It is a nice thing. They rallied behind one of their own.
They welcomed him back.
Yeah.
With the tail between his legs. Could you see the tail between his legs in his tux?
I think the camera was trying to stay high enough to crop out the tail between his legs.
Yeah.
So, we didn't see... We saw waist up when he was walking up the stairs to get his Governor's Award.
That makes sense.
But solid damage control from the TV industry that this TV director who derailed basically an entire theatrical arm of a movie studio. Here's 8 minutes of clips of his CW shows over the last decade.
I mean, the fact that so talking about that sort of thing, right? I don't want to go back too far, but let's talk late night.
Okay.
For Amazon.
Okay.
How that almost completely torpedoed Amazon's film arm. Now they've recovered because MGM really has been part of that, and Amazon and MGM, we've been giving them their flowers for a long time because they're doing a really good job.
Yep.
But Mindy Kaling, TV talent, almost destroyed Amazon's motion picture arm.
Yeah.
So you had a TV talent doing that, and then you have this TV talent destroying this streamers.
Yeah.
So I think it's all a conspiracy for people to just want everyone to just stay home and watch TV.
Okay, so the TV industry and the streamo industry is sending this TV talent into the movies.
Yes.
To create such Megatron bombs that they will wreck entire theatrical distribution arms of studios.
Because both of those movies are movies that have ridiculous premises that people don't want, and you just hear the premise and you're like, this will be thoroughly rejected, and it happened. So this is like what is the Mel Brooks play? This is the producer situation.
Trying to make money by creating a bomb that's so big.
Yes.
Yeah. So that all to say, that is the situation now that has befallen Wolves. Is Apple pulled it back to a very limited sort of, I guess, keep from getting sued by Brad Pitt and George Clooney, limited theatrical release this Friday the 20th, and then next Friday the 27th, it's on Apple TV Plus for whoever remembers that they still have this service because they bought AirPods a year ago.
Yeah. I mean, that if you're George Clooney and you're Brad Pitt, you're connected.
Right.
you don't have to tell people not to work with Crapple TV Plus,
Mm-hmm.
but people are not going to.
Okay.
Because they're going to say, I want to be on the good side of Brad Pitt and George Clooney, not on their bad side.
Mm-hmm.
So this top talent, listen, Scorsese already got his check.
Right.
Scorsese's bouncing around to all these streamers. The next streamer is going to give him a big payday for his next movie. He deserves it.
Yeah.
And I would even say Ridley Scott, a guy, go to another streamer and get a big paycheck because you deserve it.
Right.
But otherwise, Crapple TV Plus is not going to be a destination for top talent now.
Okay. Because they're not releasing wide theatrical.
Yeah.
That way. I mean, Brad Pitt, he does have a Crapple
F1.
TV Plus F1 movie that is guaranteed, as much as I guess anything could be a guarantee, and there's no guarantee in life besides death and the B.O. Boys, guaranteed a full, real, wide, long-term theatrical release, the F1 movie. So
Derek Kaczynski, right? If I'm saying his name right.
Joseph Kaczynski.
Joseph Kaczynski, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah.
He is directing that. His true follow-up to Maverick, not Spider Island or whatever that crappy Chris Hemsworth Netflix movie was.
Right.
And have you seen the teaser? It looks awesome, and it's a movie that you should see on the biggest screen possible. And I think Brad Pitt has got to bend these guys over backwards and be like, this needs to run 120 days.
Yeah, IMAX, get its 2 weeks in IMAX for sure. So he may be just looking the other way on Wolfs because
of F1.
F1 is his big one, and Wolfs maybe in the end it was just him and George getting together,
having a laugh,
taking the piss. And do you have any interest in seeing this in theaters? This is not your vibe. You were very anti this movie even before
I
limited release.
I hate these snarky Hitman movies.
You hate snarky Hitman. Okay. I will forever be curious what this could have done opening this Friday the 20th. You know, Transformers 1's a big movie, but it's a totally different audience. If Wolfs had been the adult option, you know, Beetlejuice also was the giant hit, but it's not the exact same audience as Wolfs. I'll forever be curious what this could have done.
It's a question mark. Will you go to your deathbed?
Oh, I'll think of this right before I close my eyes for the last time, or someone pulls my eyes closed, or they, you know, cut my head off and throw into the sea. However it is that I'm going to go, right before that moment happens, but before, you know, my wife pulls the plug or kicks the cord or whatever, I will think, man, if Wolves had a full theatrical release on September 20th, 2024, could it have opened to 16 million or higher? I will have that thought.
Yeah.
I will have that thought. And I think that is the right thought for me to have right at the end.
Oh, B.O. Boy till you die.
Yeah.
100%.
So I'll never know. I mean, listen, maybe the rumors are true and those eyes get pulled closed for the final time, and then boom, my B.O. Boy spirit goes up to the big box office in the sky. First question I'm asking.
God.
I'm asking the big fella or big lady or big person. And I say, all right, you got to let me know. And he's like, he, she, person. You get one. You get one question.
That's the question.
And then you're going in there. Then I'm kicking you in and you do whatever. And the big person looks at you. You get one. And I'm saying, I
got to know.
All I need is one.
Yeah.
I got to know.
You're cutting them off.
I get it. I get one. That's all I need.
All right, yeah. Shut up.
Shut up.
Respectfully, shut up.
Shut up. I know you're the guy,
but
he's the person. Shut up.
Shut up.
One question. If Wolves had gotten that full theatrical release, would it have opened to 16 million or higher?
What if they say, I wish I knew?
Wow. And I say, who do you report to? Like, I'm the person. I know all, but even I can't know that.
But who's bigger than you? But there's got to be someone bigger than you, right?
And then you know who says, I'm bigger than him? Jack Nicholson.
There we go.
Jack Nicholson.
Because God forbid, I mean, it's going to happen though. Jack will not outlive you.
Hopefully not.
I mean, I'm not good for that.
Yeah,
I'm not good for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jack will be
He's waiting.
There.
He's up there. And he would know.
Yeah.
He would know.
Yeah.
That's going to be...
He'll be like, wait till you get a load of this.
Yeah. And then he's...
Wolves number.
And also, he'd be invested in knowing because he's Wolf. Jack was Wolf.
OG Wolf.
This is Wolf's. To me, that was...
Does it open... It opens less than Wolf.
It has to open less than Mike Nichols, Jack Nicholson star Wolf.
Yeah.
Unless this is the movie where Jack came out of retirement to play one of the cameo wolves. Because he's like, I'm the wolf. Do you think, and we're not going to know the answer this weekend because neither of us are going to see this movie. Do you think Jack is in this movie? Do you think Harvey Keitel cameos in this movie? Those are your famous wolves. Do you think that Benicio del Toro, who played a wolf man in a failed Dark Universe movie, do you think any of them make cameos in Wolves? Jack Nicholson, Benicio del Toro, or Harvey Keitel, of course.
Keitel is the closest to a possibility, I think, there.
Yeah, I do too. I think this would be almost surprising if Keitel's not in this, because it's not just that he played the wolf in Pulp Fiction, but the entire title of this movie comes from that character that he played. Because
we know there's multiple wolves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's wolves.
So there is some interest. I wonder if any of that would have been enough to get this over 16 million. But someday, hundreds, maybe 1,000 years from now, because I assume technology will get to that point. When I do go up to the big box office in the sky, I'm going to try and find out. And when I find out, I will report it on the next episode of this podcast that I record after I've gotten to the afterlife.
Now,
because I only miss a show when I'm in Europe.
Yeah.
When I'm in the afterlife,
no excuses. No excuses. So, what do you think Wolf in 1994 opened to?
1994, a Nicholson starred. What month did that open? Was it a summer movie or was it like a September movie?
Summer movie, June 17th.
Okay, I think it opened to 17 million.
17.9.
Wow. I mean, hey guys, I'm looking direct to camera in the studio. I nailed it. Just on what you just saw here. Just you clap for me wherever you are. Give me some claps because that was incredible. And I'm jealous of you. Looking straight into camera, jealous of you that you got to witness that just now.
And if you're going to clap, pull off to the side because we know we have a lot of long-haul truckers that listen to us.
Yeah.
Hi, Rusty Nails. How you doing?
Yeah. So don't clap and drive. Whatever you do, don't clap and drive. But do clap. Pull over, clap, and then get back to driving because we need whatever it is you're hauling across the interstate.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely clap. So, Pat, is there anything else you need to spring on me?
I mean, I do have this one other thing I have to spring on.
Oh, a double spring?
Yeah, a double spring, because this is, a big... someone did give it up for you, Clayton.
Here we go. Finally. I get some respect.
So I gotta find this text that I got the other day from another wannabe mama. This is a different wannabe mama. The wannabe mama of a wannabe girl. So she said that I took her daughter, her wannabe girl, took her to see Toy Story 2 at the Academy Museum last weekend because LA, and swear to God, some Pixar perv sat right next to her. It was sort of full theater, but he could have left a seat in between them and did not. No, this man in his 40s, there by himself, sat right next to her and was laughing out loud the entire time. Clayton was right. That is from a wannabe mama. I mean, one of the OG wannabe girls.
Absolutely, yeah.
She's been a wannabe girl from before she became a wannabe Omama. She
Yeah.
became a wannabe Omama over the course of this program.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she said, and then we did have a back and forth, and we agreed Pixar perverts need their own screening, like how this closed caption screenings. There should be a 3:45 p.m. for a Pixar pervert screening of Toy Story 2. So that is, and she totally agrees. So Clayton, there you go. Break that down. You had a Pixar perv, a Pixar adult who's laughing their head off at a Toy Story movie, sitting right next to a little kid when they could have left a seat.
I mean, do I have to comment on this,
You might
or
not have to comment.
the thing it illustrates itself?
Yeah.
This is the problem. That is a problem. That is not behavior that you should have to worry about when you're taking your kids to see a kids movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, that's the thing, is that if your head is on the swivel for the Pixar perverts and you have to have a conversation with your kid before you go into a kids movie, to say, okay, this is a thing, these people exist, kids shouldn't have to deal with Pixar perverts at that age.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be insulated at a certain point,
Mm-hmm.
because life is hard.
Yeah.
And the older you get, the more you realize this. But when you're taking a little girl or a little boy or a little person,
a rat,
or
little
a rat
mm-hmm.
to a Pixar movie, you shouldn't have to have a whole speech to, if this 40-year-old man might sit next to you, he's going to be staring at his navel the whole time when he's not looking at the screen and laughing. He's going to try to elbow you to be like, yeah, we're the same. Yeah, we have this bond because we're both young at heart.
Right.
It's like, no.
Right.
That is not okay. And yeah, I think they should
or they're going to be showing off that they got the original Toy Story 2 toy limited edition at a Comic-Con.
When I was your age.
When I was your age. Or when, honestly, when I was 12 years older than you are now.
Yeah. When I was in my mid-30s, I got this. I think, yes, they should be separately corralled.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I think they have kids showings for movies.
Yes.
Right? That's a thing. Bring your little babies, let them run around. Let a mother's nurse, let people nurse.
Yeah. People.
And that is something that they have. Why not have a Pixar pervert showing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, they won't be happy about it, but you know who will be happy about it? The whole rest of society.
Yeah. Yeah. And those screenings, you could charge triple because they're going.
They're going.
They're going to see if we got Toy Story 2 on the 75 millimeter, which I don't even think is possible. But all you have to do is advertise it that way. The Toy Story 2 40-year-olds are going to pay, $40 to see that? I'll pay $40 to see that at a Pixar screening.
They'd pay $40 to see Planes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that is both something that is good for the rats, good for the families, and good for the box office because upcharge.
Mm-hmm.
And we say this with all due respect, upcharge these Pixar pervs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they'll pay a premium.
They'll pay
the pervert premium.
Yeah. So thank you to that wannabe Omama for that boots on the ground reporting.
And be careful out there.
Be careful out there because you might have a Pixar perv who is asking your child if they have the collector's T-shirt from the original run of Finding Nemo.
Yeah. I sleep in a Lightning McQueen bed.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you?
Do you?
Do you?
Ugh.
So be careful out there, but also upcharge them. Upcharge them and then it's fine. Yeah. Upcharge them and then it's fine.
Then that's fine.
So do we want to do our top 5 predictions?
Let's do it.
Because it's time to put some money where our mouths are and predict where these new movies are going to open and how much they're going to open to. So, Clayton, do you want to go first or second? Those are the two choices because we don't have a guest on this episode.
We don't have a guest. I will go first.
All right.
Okay. This is an interesting one.
It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one.
I'm bullish on Transformers because of the great reviews that we're getting, which that by itself wouldn't mean JS, but hype from some people that we respect, our wannabe boys, wannabe girls, wannabe people. The fact that kids love cars, I mean, you turned me around on that. Little kids love cars. The wannabe mama who said they're going shit crazy.
They're losing their shit. That is what this wannabe mama, who's someone I respect as much as you possibly can. I take her word as Bible.
Okay.
So that is a big boots on the ground reporting about these rats.
I'm going to go ahead and say 40. I think it's going to be number one. Transformers 1, number 1, 40. Number 2, Beetlejuice. I think that's a slam doink.
Slam doink. Here's where it gets iffy.
Yeah, Speak No Evil, I just think is going to eat dirt. I just think there's no buzz for this thing. God.
Is something going to move all the way up? And we haven't, I don't feel like talking about it, but we may end up, I mean, what do you think could possibly jump up? Or do you think there's a newbie that matters?
Well, the newbies are the Halle Berry movie.
Halle Berry, yeah.
Halle Berry movie. Substance, which isn't going to do anything.
Yep.
And
that's it. Wolfs is playing
not,
in 4 theaters.
Okay, I think that here's what I'm going to say. Number 3, I think, is going to be Deadpool Wolverine. I just think it's going to, I mean, it's just an option that people are still going to go to. Then number 4 is going to be Speak No Evil.
Okay.
And then I think number 5. I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I'm going to say Reagan.
Okay.
I'm going to say Reagan goes up. Okay. So we're going to see the rebound survived the attempt by Am I Racist? The attempt to bring him down. I think rebounds like Ronnie did with Hinckley, comes back strong, and I think Reagan is gonna stay at number 5.
Wow. Okay. All right.
And then right under that, I do think Let Him Go.
Never Let Go.
Never Let Go is gonna be right there.
So I agree. Number 1's gonna be Transformers 1. It's right there in the title. I mean, it's such bad press if Transformers 1 opens at number 2.
But we have our headline.
Yeah, we have our headline, but we don't want to do it.
No.
So I hope it is Transformers 1 at 1. I think I'm going to go 45 million, go even higher. I do think your 40 million makes a lot of sense. Number 2 will be Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice probably ends up like 25 million or so. Number 3, man, this could go so many ways. I'm looking at the per screen average. I think Speak No Evil is going to just completely drop off the map.
Did you get the text about how there was a McAvoy dance?
We got a third wannabe Omama sending us boots on the ground information, and this wannabe Omama, who I guess we could say her name because she's co-hosted the show.
Yeah,
Erin Rose Foley Chan. She said that there was a cut. Is that what it was? A cut McAvoy?
There was it was too sexy. It was too sexy.
Too sexy.
He was supposed to dance sexily with his wife and make the other couple uncomfortable in the movie, and it turns out they cut it.
It's too sexy.
Can you imagine? Did he do the lambada?
It's too sexy. Wow.
He didn't dance to Too Sexy. The dance was too sexy.
Oh,
although it could have.
He didn't dance to the Right Said Fred song.
And they cut because they couldn't pay for the licensing.
Right.
But it's possible that it was too sexy and he also danced to Too Sexy. And it's also possible that they did have to cut it for song rights.
Right.
Because, of course, Right Said Fred are famously litigious.
Famously litigious. As they should be.
I mean, they wrote a masterpiece. What are they supposed to do? Just give it out for free?
Wow. Okay, so then that is such a strike against Speak No Evil that they cut the Right Said Fred dance sequence out of it. I think that's going to drop. So it's Beetlejuice number 2. Man,
don't fucking do it.
I'm gonna say it
Don't
because
do it. Don't fucking do it.
I'm looking at the per
loser.
screen averages, and I'm just gonna throw it. This Am I Racist movie may end up at number 3. It may end up at number 3. Then Deadpool and Wolverine at number 4, and then
do it.
And then
do it.
Speak No Evil at 5. And so Reagan not getting back into top 5, I guess. Listen, it gives us something to really find out the results of on Monday, is whether Reagan movie survives the assassination attempt by Am I the Racist and splitting that audience. And we're going to see if Reagan bounces back, or if, Am I Racist?
Are you okay?
I listen.
No. This is not again. No, this is not for you. This is not for you. I'm not saying this issue. I'm just saying that I think that, as I've said before, documentary filmmaking, one of the lowest forms of art, right next to stand-up and puppetry of the penis.
Right.
Of course, puppetry of the penis is the top of that.
It's the highest of them.
It's the highest of all of them, because that's, how do they do it? It's like, also you're putting your junk in the line of fire when you're doing puppetry of the penis. So that actually should be way higher. I wouldn't even puppetry of the penis. I'm being really disrespectful to. I think it's
they're great. They're
not
great
even
people. They're artists. Yeah,
it's not even in the conversation with stand-up or documentary filmmaking. Reagan is a film.
Yeah,
it is a narrative film.
It is a narrative film. And that is for sure.
I think that there's a place for documentary at the theater, which, whatever. Narrative films trump documentaries always.
Yeah.
So if you had a decision to make, if you're somebody who's going to decide between the two, choose the narrative film. There's so many more people involved. It's so much harder to pull off a narrative film than to take your iPhone 13 and go around and be like, hey, look at me, I'm talking to this guy on the street.
Right.
That you can see anywhere. You can see that on your phone. You can see that while you're sitting on the toity.
You can see it on the toity, yeah.
But you know what you can't see yet while you're sitting on your toity? Reagan
movie is not available on toities yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So please don't watch the thing you could watch on your toity. Go see Reagan.
Go see a narrative movie.
Go see a narrative movie.
Okay. I mean, listen, I'm just looking at per screen averages and seeing where momentum is right now, and so that's why I'm picking that to finish, I guess, 3rd, and then Deadpool 4th, and then
no, I get it, and
then Speak No Evil 5th.
Mm-hmm. All right.
A lot of titles that sound just, I guess, after the art form of movies have been out for so long, you're going to have titles that sound like titles that you've already had.
Mm-hmm.
So Speak No Evil makes me think of See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
Yeah.
Of course. Let Them Go, whatever this movie is. This has been a long episode.
It has been a long episode.
And it's hard to keep all these titles straight, but you know what we meant. Hey, guys. So, of course, watch us, subscribe on the YouTube channel. We are YouTubers. You get the whole story when you watch us on YouTube. So, like, subscribe, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Email us, theboboyspodcast@gmail.com. Boots on the ground reporting. We got a great email from our friend Reed. We got a great email. Another emailer sent us a boots on the ground reporting from the festival circuit. We'll get to those on the next episode.
Yes, that's a great one. I mean, both. Reed also. I mean,
yeah.
Reed, we can say really quickly, was upset that we spoiled something about Reagan, which we will not spoil again in this episode.
We will never spoil what we spoiled on the last episode ever again.
We're sorry.
So thank you for that email, Reed. Email us, theboboyspodcast@gmail.com. We'll get to all your emails on a future episode. Of course, the live shows, links in the show notes. October 8th, LA, Scott Mendelson, Jeff Bock, Yard Theater. That is going to be huge, kicking off the tour.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the LA area, or if you know a friend who maybe hasn't been turned on to the B.O. Boys yet, I can't think of a better way than to immerse yourself in the world of the B.O. Boys than to meet us live for the first time.
Yeah.
That is a great way. So if you know someone in LA, there are still some tickets left for the LA show. Send them the link in the show notes. Say, hey, you got to see this to believe it. You got to see the Scott Mendelson in person. So that's in the show notes. And the Substack will be getting some new articles up there very soon. Of course, putting a lot of effort into prepping for these live shows, but we will get the pen and paper going again on the Substack. Social media at the BO Boys Pod on Twitter X, on TikTok, soon to be Instagram. We're going to be debuting that. It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming. And yeah, that is it. I mean, my God, what a show.
Pat, you said it all.
Yes.
There's nothing left to say.
No, nothing. It's time for me to get out of here.
Except for, until next time, we'll smell you at the box office.
Nailed it.
Hey guys.